My name is Vince, and I'm the Director of Client Services here at Dineline. Today, I'm going to share with you how a 7-location fast casual restaurant in California was able to partner with us here at Dineline and generate $500,000 in additional revenue over 8 months. So first and foremost, let's take a look right now at the actual revenue gains from all 7 locations of this concept that I'm referring to in this video. So let's go ahead and jump into this. So you can see here for this particular location, Citrus Heights, we started off the year at 147, pretty even to 2023. We are now ending in November at 175 with almost a 30K increase year over year. Sacramento, same type of situation here, right? Started at 88. In October, we got up to 106. November, we fell off a bit, but again, we're up year over year in this location. For Elk Grove, we saw growth this year from 176 to 193. Again, absolutely crushing year over year, almost every single month for this location. We go down to Folsom here. Again, started at 187 in January, slightly down from 2023. Fast forward to November, we're at 215 in comparison to 184 from the previous month. And you can see again, year over year for the majority of the year, we have been crushing those numbers. As we go down here to Roseville, started at 241 in January, slightly above year over year. In November, we're ending at 255. Again, pretty drastically up. And you can even see in these numbers the increase in tickets. And one of the things that we do here is we pay very, very close attention to your revenue numbers. So we're in your POS system. We're pulling numbers on a daily and weekly basis because, again, if you're spending marketing dollars on paid advertising for your restaurant, clicks are great, impressions are great, but ultimately, is it generating you more sales? Are there butts in seats? Are more online orders happening? Are more reservations happening? So we're constantly looking at those things and actually tracking them for you. And this is an example of a sheet of how we do so. So we come down here to Davis, again, started at 158, again, kind of down from 2023. As it went on, we started to increase revenue and you can start to see some pretty big gains here in April and May, again, beating year over year. Kind of took a dip here in this location, and we'll touch on that again a little bit later in this video. But again, got up to 162 for November. For this location, again, we were at 203. From the beginning of the year, we were slightly up year over year, and we continued to beat year over year. Broke even a little bit in the middle of the months here, but again, are pacing back up to get over that 200K mark more consistently. And then total sales here, if we look at total amounts of volume here, we started at, 1.2 million in January for all locations. And then by November and October, you can see we got up to 1.4 and 1.2 with some pretty massive gains here. So overall, you can see here, 15 million across the board. Previous year, 14.5. So pretty consistent growth across all of these metrics. And there's a couple reasons for that. The first reason that I really want to highlight here is driving real world visits, okay? So, you're running advertising, maybe, you're a little bit more old school and you're doing, the billboard advertising, the radio advertising, or maybe you have a marketing team and they're boosting posts on social media for you and you have, people creating content and reels and you're boosting those posts. But again, spending the money is awesome. Happy that you're doing it, but how and what is that money doing for you? Those dollars that you're spending on those boosts or those dollars that you're spending on TV and billboard advertising, how many people are actually visiting the restaurant from those numbers? And that's one of the things that we do tremendously well here. So we like to drive what we call real world visits, or to be more frank, store visits. So store visit reporting is something that we focus pretty heavily on. And you can see here in this time period from November to December. So this is just a snapshot of the last month. Okay. So this is kind of what we've done in November, and you saw those November numbers. Across all of these locations, we invested $9,400 into advertising and it generated 3,000 store visits. So on average, every $3.71 that we spent on our Google advertising was driving a butt in the seat at this restaurant. So we're able to communicate this with the client and give them a cost of acquisition that we say, hey, right now, every $3.71 that you're spending, it's gonna bring somebody into your restaurant. Now, this restaurant obviously is very successful. They do a very good job at customer retention. People have a great experience there. All of their locations are 4.0 or higher on Google. So it's very easy for our client to say, look, I'm willing to spend that and pay that a million times over because I know once when I get that new customer in my restaurant, the rest is gonna take care of itself and they are going to become a repeat visitor. So really understanding those real world visits and being able to track that through an ad platform is something that we provide to our clients that, again, ultimately gets you in a position to make $500,000 in a year because we can scale your marketing with confidence, knowing exactly what you're going to spend and what those results are going to yield. Another big piece of this is strategic ad spend that's driving ROI. So we just discussed the actual tracking portion of those butts and seats, but we kind of take it a step further. And through our relationships with Google, we're able to do a second layer of verification for our clients. So, let's say we drive in 3,000 store visits for your restaurant group. We're able to not only track the visit, but then we take those 3,000 people and we're able to see if they actually swiped their credit card at your restaurant. And we call this credit card swipes. And we typically see about 40 to 60% of our store visits become credit card swipes. And again, the purpose of this for our clients is to let them know, hey, you're spending this money. This is how many people we track. This is how many people swipe their credit card. Let's now go spend more. Now, the reason we only really see like 40 to 60% is because not every person that interacts and sees our ad that ends up visiting one of our clients' restaurants is the same person that pays. An example that I always give on this is, hey, I'm going out to lunch today. I go on my phone. I look up lunch near me. I see an ad. I click get directions. I look at their menu. I look at their reviews. I'm like, oh, this place looks good. My buddy Jace comes and joins me. And Jace, being the gentleman that he is, decides to pay for lunch. In that situation, I would have been in Dineline's marketing. Me, Vince, would have been tracked as a store visit, but I would not have been a credit card swipe because Jace was the one that purchased. So we have these unique identifiers that we look at in order to help you scale your campaign. Another huge piece in the success of this was not looking at the brand as a whole. We take a very localized approach to marketing. This is 7 different locations in 7 different cities spread across California. Every city, every location is going to have different demographics. There's going to be different competitors. So really understanding the localized marketing structure of each one of these locations is ultimately going to call for different messaging in our advertising. And we see it all the time with a lot of our franchise and franchisee clients that, hey, we work with corporate. They have, they do TV ads in our area and they're sending out a very broad message to a bunch of people to help brand awareness. But at the end of the day, every city, every location, down to within 5 miles of each one is going to be different. How you speak to those people is going to be different. How you position yourself against the nearby competitors is simply just going to be different. So really looking at your marketing from a localized perspective and looking at each individual store as its own entity and then building advertising campaigns around that with different copy, different images, different videos, things that are going to make more sense to the people living in that area is a huge key to success for any restaurant group that is looking to market online today. Lastly, to really double down on that localized marketing approach is that when you are running individual campaigns to a specific location within a specific radius, really understanding the search volumes and what people are searching in that area is a huge piece to make your campaign successful. So like in this example, this is a snapshot of our search campaigns that we're running for this client. And you can see here, we generated 2,000 clicks, 5,500 impressions, had a 38% click-through rate. But again, it's what are those keywords that we're targeting? It's not always about the cost of a keyword. Okay, so let me give you an example. You may be running an ad in your area as a restaurant and you may be targeting lunch near me. And let's say you are a sandwich shop and you're running an ad in lunch near me, you're targeting it, you're getting clicks, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is doing so well. It's costing me 50 cents a click for lunch near me. And you don't really have a way to track it. You're just looking at what we call vanity metrics. You're like, well, the cost is good. People are clicking through on it. Sales seem to be going up, right? Like, I'm not really entirely sure, but that's how most people view these things. What I would suggest to you is, hey, perhaps, being on lunch near me is a great keyword. You have a great cost, but maybe we should be running ads on maybe a specific sandwich title, right? So maybe you have a BLT. Well, maybe that BLT keyword is more expensive and it costs you $1.50 a click. But with our trackability, and since we're able to see even from a search campaign that when somebody clicks on our ad, we're able to track them as a store visitor, we may find that although you're paying $1 more for the BLT click, the people that are clicking that are coming and visiting the restaurant 10 times more frequently than people that are just searching lunch near me. So you have to go beyond the vanity metrics and the cost, because at the end of the day, the cost of the click doesn't really matter. What really matters is what was that person searching and are they gonna ultimately show up to the restaurant? To kind of summarize, right, the strategy behind how we generated this customer $500,000 in additional revenue this year was 100% understanding trackability and understanding how the advertising is being spent and what's working best. Tracking those store visitors, tracking those credit card swipes are all major key players and pieces to the success of this campaign. Running localized marketing, treating each individual location with its own copy, messaging, demographics, and understanding them individually and running different campaigns that make the most sense was a huge piece. And then last but not least is the remarketing side of things. Many of our restaurant clients want new customers. Rarely do they come in to partner with us talking about getting their existing customers to return. And at the end of the day, there's only 3 ways you can make money in the restaurant business. You either have to acquire new customers, you either need to get your existing customers to come back more frequently, or you need to raise your prices and your average ticket amount. So another huge piece to this campaign was being able to really do direct messaging and direct marketing to those customers that have visited and really focus on getting every single customer to visit one more time in a given month, which has created loads of revenue for this client. And quite frankly, that remarketing using our software Aditio really helped us focus in at a very low cost to do it. And there's other videos here where I talk about Aditio and how we do our remarketing strategies. Feel free to check them out. But again, localized marketing, understanding your budgets, how that money's being spent, and having those trackabilities can put you in a position to generate a ton of revenue moving into 2025.